This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Good Monday morning. Time now is 4:27. I'm Meredith Barrett.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Thanks for starting your work week with us here on Good Morning Indiana. We are just 6 days away from the 103rd running of the Indy 500, and the field of 33 drivers is now set.
Yeah, of course, day 2 of qualifying wasn't without a little bit of drama. There were weather delays. The biggest shocker came as superstar Fernando Alonso was bumped out on the last run of the day. Not a lot of people expecting that, but we have your complete coverage of what went down in case you weren't able to watch it. And of course, all of this leading up to this weekend when the Indy 500 will happen. A lot of excitement surrounding that.
And of course, Simon Pagenaud got that pole position, and those drivers will be out getting their pictures taken this morning, so that is a very exciting time. Also this morning, we are following a shooting in Muncie that happened over the weekend. 7 people shot there after a party not far from Ball State's campus.
Now, the good news is police have arrested a 19-year-old that they say is responsible for those 7 people who are injured. This is Vashon Harnett. He told police a fight broke out, and that's when he started firing shots. Unfortunately, 7 people injured in that shooting. 2 of those 7 people are currently still in the hospital in critical condition, so we will continue to follow that story. In the meantime, though, meteorologist Todd Clausen here. Last night we had a bit of heavy rain. I was on I-65 during that, and I was white-knuckling it.
I should have pulled over.
Any similar weather today?
No, it's pretty quiet here across the area today. That's the good news. It's cooler, it's quiet with sunshine. That'll be around as well throughout a good chunk of the day today. In fact, there was a nice, beautiful moon as I drove in. The full moon, of course, was on Saturday. I hope you're able to check that out. 55 right now in Logansport, 57 in Kokomo, it's 59 in Bloomington. You see the radar nice and quiet. All the storms from yesterday, haven't they made their way out of central Indiana and off towards the east? Certainly some flight delays will still be possible, though, if you are heading east. So mostly sunny here throughout the day today. An opportunity to dry out. Pleasant temperatures with a high temperature of 65 degrees, but I will not be using the word pleasant by the end of the week.
And not what we want to hear going into race weekend.
Well, some people like it hot and sticky and humid. Then it's going to be for you. But we'll see.
Okay.
Grab your sunscreen for Carb Day. More on that coming up.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. And finally, we have a great story from Melissa Donovan this morning. For people who are living with epilepsy, life can be a challenge. You don't know when a seizure might occur. So she's going to introduce us to an organization who have some pretty cute helpers here who are being trained to help people recognize when they're about to have a seizure. We'll have that plus more coming up on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
We are less than a week away from the Indy 500, and the field is set. This morning, we're breaking down a dramatic day 2 of qualifying.
Plus, the investigation into a home explosion continues in southern Indiana. New overnight, we've learned what may have caused the deadly blast.
And broken elevators at downtown parking garages have drivers frustrated. We are working for you and looking into why the elevators aren't being fixed. It is 4:30 on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrett.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Elena Martella will be keeping a close eye on traffic for your morning commute. But first, let's start with meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, we had a nice day yesterday, and then we had all that rain last night.
Yeah,
today?
You know, those storms came through with all those thunderstorm warnings, the heavy rain, the wind. It's much more quiet here this morning across the area. And we'll start you off with radar. To show you that, Storm Team 6 radar working overtime yesterday. It's going to be nice and quiet throughout the day today. So that is the good news for you, at least going forward here throughout the day today. We just have a few areas of clouds up to the north and back off towards the west. But my drive into work, the skies were completely clear in downtown Indianapolis. And then here is the rain that is making its way still off towards the east. Most of it should be clear of New York. I flew back in yesterday. There were lots of cancellations at the airport. A lot of disgruntled people once I landed because all the flights to the east got canceled last night. So make sure you check with those airlines here this morning if you're heading off towards New York, Boston, or Philadelphia to check with your airlines, make sure they're caught up. But otherwise, the weather's quiet here across central Indiana. 54 in Crawfordsville, 57 right now in Indianapolis, close. 58's the current temperature as you make your way over into the Richmond area. And really, it's a nice day for us. We'll have the sunshine throughout the morning hours with temperatures that'll be in the 50s and then eventually a high of 65 degrees with skies just turning partly cloudy. Enjoy this brief break. As I mentioned earlier, the heat and humidity set to build back in. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. But at 4:32, let's get a first look at traffic on this Monday morning. Here's Alana.
Good morning, Todd. Not much happening out there on the roads right now, but we do have that closure that was underway all weekend. So northbound I-65 between I-465 and the south split is closed, as well as northbound I-65 between that I-65, I-70 collector ramp and the north split. So keep that in mind if it's part of your drive today. To get around it, what you can do, head westbound on 465, go to eastbound I-70. That last remaining exit that's open is the Illinois Street exit, so plan ahead. Or you can continue up to northbound I-65, northbound or southbound I-65. That'll get you north or south, depending upon your destination. And this will open back up around 6 o'clock this morning, so keep that in mind if you are one of those early morning drivers. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Here's a look at I-465 and West 21st Street over on the west side. Looking empty out there on the roadways. Let's look over on the northeast side, 465 at Fall Creek Road. You can see everything's moving along just fine for your morning drives. No backup or delays.
Elena, thank you. We are just 6 days away from the greatest spectacle in racing.
And this morning, the field of 33 drivers is set following a drama-filled day 2 of qualifying. After a hefty rain delay, the main focus was getting the final row set. 6 cars, including James Hinchcliffe, were hoping to run the 103rd Indy 500. The big shocker, racing superstar Fernando Alonso getting bumped on the last run of the day. The Mega $1 Million McLaren racing team was unable to get into the top 30 after 5 chances on day 1. Hinchcliffe, Sage Karam, and Kyle Kaiser will make up the last row. Then it was a race against Mother Nature to get the Fast Nines in. The fastest run of the day belonged to Simon Pagenaud. Last weekend, he won the Grand Prix race on the road course. This week, he turned 3 of his 4 laps at more than 230 miles an hour. His final time was 0.07 of a second faster than the rest, and that is all it took to get him in the pole position. It is the first Indy 500 pole of his career.
What was harder, the drive or the waiting at the end there?
The waiting. The drive is okay. You're alone in there. You're just executing and doing what you have to do. But, you know, a lot of it is the car. It's Team Penske is amazing at giving you the best equipment. So it's the best day of my life so far. Yet, right?
He'll be joined in the front row by Ed Carpenter and Spencer Pigot. Spencer had the final qualifying run of the day, but was unable to knock Simon from the top spot. The green flag dropped Sunday at 12:19.
A Monroe County woman has died following a crash in South Carolina. The crash involved country music singer Travis Tritt's tour bus. Investigators say a Jeep driving the wrong way near Myrtle Beach crashed into a pickup truck. The crash killed 61-year-old Tonda Cross of Ellettsville and a 25-year-old man from South Carolina. Country music singer Travis Tritt's bus was sideswiped in the collision. Investigators have not announced what caused the crash, but Tritt tweeted drunk driving was involved. He also tweeted that he was shaken up by what he witnessed and urged everyone to drive sober.
New overnight, authorities in Clark County say natural gas may have caused a southern Indiana home to explode. The explosion killed 1 person and injured 2 others early Sunday morning in Jeffersonville. The home involved was obliterated. Authorities say nearly a dozen other houses were seriously damaged, and some may never be lived in again. Neighbors say when the blast happened, they weren't sure what to think. One man even wondering if something crashed into his house.
It was a big boom with the concussion you could feel in your chest, and the whole house just shook. I mean, it just shook, raised up, and I mean, rattled the windows, knocked the gutter off the back of my house. And I thought somebody fell in the house, but I ran out, and I thought somebody hit the house. And I ran outside and looked, nobody hit the house.
Jeffersonville fire investigators haven't released the conditions of the 2 people injured.
11 candidates are being considered to be the next superintendent of Indianapolis Public Schools. That is how many people applied for the position, according to the district. Applications are no longer being accepted. School commissioners will meet late this week to review the applications. IPS says the names of the finalists will be announced and interviews will be public.
The number of confirmed mumps cases at IU Bloomington continues continues to rise. New this morning, school officials report 40 cases of the mumps on campus. That's 7 new cases since last week. The first case of the mumps was announced back on February 12th. Several of the cases were reported inside a campus fraternity house. The school has since set up a website for the public to learn about the mumps outbreak. You can find a link to the site on the IndyChannel.com by searching mumps.
Your chance to weigh in on Indigo's next rapid transit line will happen this week. Indigo leaders will hold a meeting to discuss the Purple Line tomorrow. The route will connect downtown to Lawrence using Meridian, 38th Street, and Post Road. The Purple Line meeting will be held at the Avondale Meadows YMCA tomorrow night from 5 until 7. The Purple Line is scheduled to start boarding passengers late next year.
Working for you, RTV6 is getting results for frustrated drivers after they reached out to us for help. Several people tell RTV6 elevators in the parking garage across from the State House are frequently out of order. Now, that garage is 10 stories high. Drivers say there are no warning signs to let drivers know those elevators are broken.
For myself, I have vertigo, so it's difficult to use the stairwell. And you shouldn't have to be forced to use the stairwell.
I feel bad for the people who have more significant disabilities who can't navigate stairs, because then they have no way to get up to their car.
Circle Center Mall operates the elevators in the structure. After we brought the issue to the company, they repaired one of the elevators and say the other one is in the process of being fixed. We'll continue to follow up until that happens.
2 Southern Indiana judges injured in a shooting in downtown Indianapolis are both home from the hospital. Clark County judges Andrew Adams and Bradley Jacobs went home last week. They'd been in Indianapolis recovering from the May 1st shooting. Police say an argument between the 2 judges and 2 other men led to gunfire in a White Castle parking lot. Prosecutors say more evidence is needed before they can decide whether to file any charges in the case.
Graduation ceremonies will be held today in Colorado, less than 2 weeks after a deadly school shooting. Still ahead this morning, how the school will remember one of the graduates killed by the gunfire.
Plus, dangerous storms are taking aim on the Midwest today. Up next, the area is under a rare high-risk alert for violent weather. Todd.
And the storms here in central Indiana from last night are now well off towards the east. That is the good news for our local forecast, at least. We'll talk more about the extended forecast and take a look, first look at Ray's Sunday coming up for weather. Time now is 4:39. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Friday to Monday only at Ashley Home Store.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 4:42. Here's a look at 465 at Rockville Road on the west side. Everything's moving along just fine, but stay tuned. I'll have your latest traffic update coming up in just a few minutes.
Elena, thank you. As more and more states pass laws targeting Roe v. Wade, abortion rights advocates are prepping for protests across the country tomorrow. Marchers took to the streets this weekend in Alabama. The demonstrations come just days after the state enacted the nation's strictest anti-abortion law. It prohibits all abortions except when the mother's life is at risk. In Missouri, the governor is set to sign an 8-week abortion bill into law soon. More than a dozen U.S. states have either passed or are considering measures to restrict abortion this year.
Graduation ceremonies will be held tonight for STEM School Highlands Ranch students. It's been less than 2 weeks since 2 attackers injured 8 students and killed 18-year-old Kendrick Castillo. Castillo, who died trying to subdue one of the attackers, was supposed to graduate today. The 18 and 16-year-old suspects face nearly 50 charges, including murder and attempted murder. Today's ceremony will be held at the Denver Broncos Training Center. Right now, 19 million Americans bracing for a potentially violent round of severe weather.
The latest threat comes just days after nearly 4 dozen tornadoes carved a trail of damage across 6 states this weekend. Here's ABC's Kenneth Moten.
Just days after dozens of tornadoes tore through the Midwest, more potentially catastrophic storms are threatening millions. Many of those in the path of destruction are already reeling from this weekend's terrifying twisters.
I just kind of shoved her into the closet and put my back against it and just prayed through the whole thing.
In Nebraska,
yes, it's touching down!
This twister nearly swept away storm chasers caught in its path. While this massive tornado touched down in Kansas, toppling this tractor trailer that was driving nearly 2 miles away. In the aftermath, homes turned upside down, debris blocking roadways, and residents grateful to be alive.
I really did not think that we were coming out of here alive.
Now those same people may face these frightening scenes again. A severe weather threat is in effect, with tornadoes possible for cities stretching from Kansas to Texas, with Oklahoma in the bullseye. Schools in parts of the state have already canceled classes today ahead of the potential outbreak, including schools in Moore County, the same area where a violent tornado hit 6 years ago today, killing 24 people and injuring more than 200 others. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
All right, that line of storms went through central Indiana yesterday evening with one tornado warning, nothing confirmed, and a bunch of thunderstorm warnings. It's much more quiet now across the area. Here's a live look from downtown off towards the west, and you can kind of still see a glisten out there when you look at the lights, and that's because of the moisture that we still have out there on the ground, 57 degrees. But here's a good indication that the front went through. The wind is now out of the west at 10 miles per hour, and that westerly wind is going to prevent our temperatures from warming a whole lot here throughout the day today. But enjoy these temperatures. I know they're going to be running a little bit below normal, but by the end of the week, it's a completely different story. 57 in Indy, 59 in Bloomington, 56 in Tipton, 61 is the current temperature in Muncie, and you see some 30s and 40s off to our west. We won't dip down into the 30s, but by tomorrow morning, we probably are in the 40s across a good chunk of the area. So here is radar locally. It is quiet for us. We have a little bit of cloud cover from Crawfordsville up towards the Fort Wayne area, but all the storms are well off towards the east now. So as we go over to TrueCast and we work our way throughout the day today, essentially we're just going to call it partly cloudy for us, and at times mostly sunny. It's just a really decent day for us with temperatures that'll be topping off in the 60s. No real threat of rain today. There could be a quick passing shower in extreme northern Indiana, and that is just about it. But if you have plans this Monday evening, you are in tip-top shape. Great night for a workout if you can fit it in with temperatures that will be in the 60s. So here we go throughout the day today. We'll call it partly cloudy skies. Notice not a whole lot in the way of warming throughout the morning hours. We're only up to right around 60 degrees by the noon hour, and then by the time we get to 5 p.m., we're looking at a temperature right around 65. Our normal high this time of year now is 74, so we're about 10 degrees below normal for today, and even tomorrow temperatures are only in the mid-60s. But what's going to happen is tomorrow evening, a warm front is going to approach, and there could be a stray shower tomorrow evening, but once that warm front goes through, look at the temperatures as we head into the latter half of the week. Wednesday, 81. Thursday, up to 87. Friday, we're up to 88 degrees. Not only does the temperature come up, but we had to throw in this word here. Humidity comes up as well. So once we get to Friday and Carb Day, we're easily probably looking at heat index values in that 95 to 100 degree range. So start making the appropriate precautions as we head into race weekend itself. There will be some scattered storms around with a lingering front across the area with temperatures in the mid 80s. But at this point, it's going to be hard to fine tune where those storms will happen. So certainly not a washout, though. That is the good news. Your race Sunday highs 84 degrees. Lena.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Here's a look over on the west side, I-65 at the pedestrian overpass. This is just north of 30th Street. So you can see it's looking pretty empty. No cars out there right now. So if you're heading out the door, should be a breeze making your way on the roadways. Let's take a look at the map. This won't be a breeze, though. This closure northbound I-65 between I-465 and the south split, as well as northbound I-65 between this I-65 collector ramp out the south split all the way up to the north split. So keep this in mind to get around it. Westbound 465 to eastbound I-70 downtown, or westbound 465, which turns into northbound 465, and then go to northbound or southbound I-65, depending upon your destination. This closure should be underway for another hour or so, unless it opens up early, but we'll, of course, let you know when it opens back up for your drive. Let's take one last look at those roads over on the east side, I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Nice view of the city for your morning drive. Everything's moving along just fine.
Elena, thank you. Among the 33 drivers set to compete in the 103rd running of the Indy 500 is RTV6 driver analyst Tony Kanaan.
This morning, he and sports director Dave Furst are taking to the streets of Indianapolis for this edition of Two for the Road.
Go, go, Garfield. In this installment of Two for the Road, we've got the 2004 Series champ, 2013 Indy 500 champion, and a 17-time winner of the NTT IndyCar Series. We're talking about Tony Kanaan, who loves a good pastry.
Two for the Road, sponsored by Indiana Farmers Insurance.
Nice ride.
Huh? What do you think?
I call an Uber.
Do you like the kitty cat on the side? Garfield?
Garfield. I know. My kids will love this car. Can I have it for the month?
Your given name is
Antoine. Riscala Canan Filio, which is Junior. I have my dad's name.
TK is much shorter.
It's a lot simpler to say. And actually, Dan Weldon was the one that brought the TK. On the data for the race car, when we print the data, they just put your initials. So he was DW, I was TK, so I started TK, and became TK.
Could you imagine being in an autograph line and having to sign your given name?
No, but that was something that Dad, I was 8 when I started racing, so my dad said, listen, we have a long name. I said, well, that's your fault. No, it's my dad's fault. I said, well, but he gave it to me. He made me practice my autograph when I was 9 years old, which is still the same as of today.
Wow.
So, it was Tony Kanaan.
Biggest cheers at Indy still happen when you go to the front.
I love it. I can't hear it, but I love it.
It's pretty special.
I mean, driver's intro is pretty special for me. I got to thank the fans. We built an awesome fan base here. Pretty cool.
If and when fortunate enough to win Indy again, that you would do something that you didn't get a chance to do in 13.
A celebration needs to be natural.
Right.
I don't look back at 13 and say, oh, I should have celebrated this way or that way. It has to be something that comes out when you're in the moment. I will definitely have my kids there this time, and I will celebrate with them. Have you been here, dude?
No, you've been here before, right?
Yeah, I'm friends with them. When we promoted Rev, we came here, and such a cool place.
This place is fantastic.
You gotta taste some of this stuff.
Look at all this.
This is our signature, the chocolate pillow. This was the first dessert that...
This is called a chocolate pillow?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a big bite.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Be ready for a nap after this.
Chocolate pillow? I'm gonna go to my pillow. Then we're gonna take a nap.
Good luck on race day, buddy.
Thank you. Guys, come check it out.
Tony Kanaan, 2 for the road here on RTV6.
Buy or lease a new 2019 Atlas.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 4:55. Here's a look at I-65 at West Street. This is downtown. You can see everything's moving along fine for your morning drive.
Elena, thank you. The sons of 2 San Jose Sharks players hoping their smooth dance moves will help their dads advance to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Take a look. During a break in the play, River Thornton, the son of Joe Thornton, and Jagger Burns, whose dad is Brent Burns, were caught on camera showing off their dance skills. Unfortunately, the kids' impressive dance moves couldn't help their dads to victory. The St. Louis Blues ended up winning Game 5 last night, 5-0.
It is National Rescue Dog Day. Event organizers say it's a day to learn about all the ways a canine companion can improve your life. According to the ASPCA, over 3 million dogs go into U.S. shelters each year and are waiting for forever homes. If you want to ease into dog ownership, get involved in a local shelter. They can always use volunteers. If you have a rescue dog in your life, you can celebrate the day and connect with others using the hashtag National Rescue Dog Day on social media.
Yeah, lots of little guys and gals at Indy Humane and IACS right now waiting for their forever home. And this time of year is a great time to bring a dog into your house because the weather is nicer, so you have no excuse not to get outdoors and take it for a walk, toss the ball around.
Gives the dog exercise, gets you out of the house too, get yourself some exercise. Today's one of those days you should get out of the house and enjoy the weather. It's a little below normal, I know, 65 degrees with mostly sunny skies. So tomorrow up to 68, but look at the heat that builds in by Thursday and Friday. Not only does it become hot, it becomes very humid as well with heat index values well into the mid to upper 90s, most likely by Friday afternoon. Just some spotty storm chances on Wednesday and Thursday. Dry on Friday as the core of the hot air is in place. Then as a front sacks to the south for the weekend, we will throw in some isolated storm chances for Saturday and Sunday with high temperatures still well above normal in the mid 80s. Time now is 4:57. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.